Hey YouTube do-it-yourselfers, it's Tony with another video on how to save about 150 bucks. You're looking at my rear wiper motor. I have a 2003 Saturn Vue all-wheel drive 6-cylinder, and my rear wiper was not moving. In fact, for the last couple of years, it had barely would kind of advance and sweep any snow or rain off, and this year finally it just would not move at all. So I've torn it all apart, and so I'm kind of reverse into this and teach you what I did and how to fix it. So I've already removed the rear motor. I'm going to back up here a little bit. You can see I've taken off the rear panel here. A lot of videos on how to do that's pretty easy. There's a screw here, screw here. I basically watched a few videos on YouTube that show how to remove this from GM vehicles, and basically they're all the same. There's there's clips, there's screws. Remove all of that. Take a lot of care in removing the defrost connections here when you take apart this. And so I didn't take this all the way across. Take this off all the way across, unnecessary, and unclip there. There's also a clip here. These are the lights that show on the interior. There's one over here. Those are kind of hard to take off, but they come off here. So that's just a light on the other side of this, and those plug in right here. So anyway, those aren't hard to take off. That isn't hard to figure out. But what is difficult to figure out is why your motor isn't advancing. And I guarantee you 100%, okay, 97%, that there's an O-ring here that is really gone. Basically, it's probably decorroded, right? As Napoleon would say. And water gets down in here, and guess what? Rust. So I guarantee that if this does not move, your wiper motor is not moving, but you can kind of hear it wanting to do something, there is rust in here. So you got to tear it apart. And don't be, I've never torn apart a motor in my life. Not hard. There's another video that I'm going to link to. A guy did a Jeep Cherokee or something like that. Same procedure. So let's just do a quick walkthrough of that, and I'll show you what I did. But I'm really not going to redo his video because he did a great job. So I'm going to link to that, but just want to put a link out there for a 2003 Saturn Vue, because sometimes, you know, we all look for our own vehicles on YouTube to try to find what people have done in the past. All right, so let me flip this thing over. There are a lot of videos on how to take this off and disconnect this from the glass. I'm not going to show you that, but you do have to be careful. Again, there's a metal ring around here, and the metal ring holds down that O-ring, which keeps moisture out. And again, this car is 11 years old, so that rubber was shot. Okay, so let me flip this over and show you how that's done. Again, do not be intimidated by this. It's not hard, and trust me, because I did it. All right, so there's 4 screws here, so let me take those off and show you what it looks like inside. I just put this back together, plugged it in, and it works. So I usually don't do that until I to make a video until I actually ensure it works. Hang on, here, stand by. All right, and we're back. All right, so here's what it looks like on the inside. The motor is right here, and it has kind of like a little screw drive here, like somebody called it, one guy called it a worm screw or something like that. So whatever, but that is kind of a screw drive here that turns this big gear, and it has kind of a little, I don't know, think about it like a train engine, old-timey train engine. Has a bar here, turns this, and then there is actually your wiper motor arm, or that's connected to your wiper motor arm on the underside of that. All right, so very easy. Just be careful, kind of place stuff out so you kind of know where it goes. What I did was let me push that back in there for a second. Okay, what I did was I wasn't sure if I needed to keep track of these gears, and so what I did was I wiped this off of grease and just put a little Sharpie marker where the gears meshed. A mark here on this gear, and then one in the middle, that where it goes. probably fine, but that's always a good idea to put it back together the way the manufacturers did. So it seemed not to make a difference. So, but just be careful of those sorts of things. This one you don't have to mark because this bar goes into a hole on this gear and goes into a hole on this gear. So it's really, there's only really one way to put it back together. You just have to turn the gear till this hole underneath this gets close enough to put these two posts in. So let me pull that apart and I'll show you what I did. All right, so I just flipped this upside down. It wasn't coming out very easily, and I flipped it upside down. So these are upside down. These little, you gotta be careful of these. You gotta keep these. These are like little springy. They're kind of bent, so to speak. Little washers. Those go down right there. So again, this is kind of upside down. So I'm gonna flip this over. And again, think train engine. So these kind of connect those gears that way. Okay. What you're really going to see is the problem is this arm right here that connects to the wiper arm. That's probably going to be fused and frozen in there. Here, I got greasy hands. I'm trying not to get it all over my phone here. So this is not going to be able to turn. It did not turn for me. So let me go grab this other thing here. 1 second. Here is the remnants. Here are the remnants of the O2 ring that was there. That's metal. That's actually, this is rubberized here. So this is all layered in here. This is the metal bar. I'm going to need to put this back on, and I need to go to the hardware store, get an O-ring, and that goes over the post, and this goes on top of that. And there's a little groove that I'm going to show you here. So if we can see, there's a little, see that little groove right there? That is where that O-ring is going to go. Again, if you look at that video from that other guy, that there's hair all over the place, like dogs. So you're gonna see that in the video, and you see the same thing. Again, basically, you have to have an O-ring there to keep the moisture from getting down here. Otherwise, again, this gets fused and rusted there. So what I did was I just basically put this flat, put something that has a hole on top of it. It actually had kind of like a ticket roll, and so basically I just took a hammer, pounded straight down. Took a while, and it actually finally came loose. Make sure that when you pull this out, get a white little mini wire brush, something that can kind of obviously fit down into here, and clean that out, because obviously the rust is on here and it's inside, right inside this post right here. So get a little wire brush and clean that out really good. Or what I did actually is, if you know me, I kind of hack tool. So it finally comes loose, and what I did was, take all the way out here. That is going to be all rusty. You can see there's a little bit of rust there, but I just took some sandpaper and cleaned that up all really good. Now there's going to be a little bit of grease on here. That was pretty dirty from just obviously probably friction and probably get a little warm or whatever. So I recoated it. I didn't really put any grease back into this. I saved a lot of it. There was a bunch on top of the gears when I first opened this up. So save that if you can. Get a piece of cardstock or a piece of cardboard or something like that, and save that if you can. Then recoat this. So clean this up, okay, with some sandpaper, fine grit, and clean that up. There's also one of those springy washers right there as well. So keep that on there, clean it up. But you might want to, if you want to really go gangbusters, you can clean this up with, brake fluid or brake cleaner or some sort of degreaser of some sort. So anyway, I cleaned that all up. Again, make sure you pay special attention to where that slot is, because that's where that O-ring is going to go. So you want to make sure that there's no grit and grime in there, okay? And then put a little grease on the threads there, because that's where the nut is going to go when you actually first take this off and put this back on, as far as the when this threads through the glass. So what I did was I actually just took a little bit of fine grit sandpaper, rolled it up on the end of just a spade bit here, and actually just put some hot glue on it so it stayed shut. And then I just worked it on the inside and then cleaned that Well, actually what I did is put it inside of there and then rotated that around and cleaned that grit off and all that, most of that rust off, at least enough to get this free flowing again. So this basically goes back in there, and these go back on there as well. Line up the gears, put the face back on, and then actually I'm not quite done yet because I need to go back to the hardware store, find an O-ring that works for that little notch there. But I have already tested this and put the arm back on, and it does a full sweeping motion. So success. So I hope that helps you out. Again, I didn't redo everything that guy did with the Jeep. But if you watch this and then watch that one, you should be in good shape and pretty much fix, I would imagine, any kind of tailgate wiper motor between the two videos. All right, well, good luck, and take care. Clean that thing off. And if you got an old vehicle that's, you know, 8, 5, 10 years old and it doesn't work, it's probably rusty. That O-ring failed. Okay, bye.